I'm going to call to order the Dartmouth Conservation Commission having its Tuesday, December 10, 2024 meeting. This meeting is being conducted remotely as a result of Governor Healy signing on March 29, 2023, a further extension for hybrid remote meeting until March 31, 2025. The public hearings are accessible, and there is an ability to have live interaction. You just have to use the raise your hand feature or wave your hand. And I guess there is a chat feature, but I wouldn't count on that because by the time I notice it, we probably moved on to the next item. In any respect, this meeting is being conducted this evening, having been duly posted at Town Hall on our website, so it has been properly noticed. Our commissioners, we have currently 4, myself included, and that means that you will need, any applicant here will need a unanimous vote in order to get an affirmative. Should anybody feel uncomfortable with that, they can certainly ask for a continuance, and under the circumstances, that would be granted. Our first items are the administrative, and we have the first to approve the minutes of both the open meeting and the executive session of November 12, 2024. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. A roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That passes unanimously. The second is to approve the field trip reports of November 26, 2024. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The final administrative item is to receive the minutes of the November 26, 2024 meeting. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That passes unanimously.
Mr.
We have one.
Chairman, could I ask a question before we move on?
Sure.
I may have missed it. The first administrative item, did we vote on the executive session minutes and the open meeting minutes?
We
Is
did.
that two? Okay, all right, I must have missed it.
No problem.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, we have one field trip report this evening. It is a continued request for determination of applicability, RDA 2433 from Philip Capitan to install a Tesla Powerwall 3 on the exterior of the home in land subject to coastal storm flowage, potentially in the FEMA velocity zone on land described as map 121, lot 6. It's known as number 2 Howland Avenue. Mark, what is the update from staff?
Well, the update from staff is this: we asked 3 questions of the applicant because he's placing this Powerwall 3, this Tesla Powerwall 3 inverter, which appears to function as battery storage unit. That has never been clarified, and the specifications don't really speak to it. So we asked for clarification on that. We also asked, what is the unit's durability in an area subject to potential wave action, inundation of seawater, and what kind of chemicals are in this unit that could be released should the unit deteriorate due to the salty marine environment. We have yet to get any response from that. I've sent you a text thread. They keep telling us that they're talking to their engineers. Their engineers have not responded to us. They have also had the opportunity to move this unit out of the FEMA flood velocity zone, which has a wave elevation of 16 feet, NGVD 29. I don't know if that's really possible or not, but that's certainly an option to them. And the unit, as it's proposed on their plans, which are standard solar installation plans, they're not engineering plans. They have very little, land information, contouring or the like, I've estimated that the unit is proposed to be at about 8 feet plus or minus NAVD 88, which is a different datum than the FEMA datum. But the flood elevation would be instead of 16 NGV 29, the conversion would bring it down to 15.18 NAVD 88. We're talking about 0.82 feet difference between the two datums. This is in an area that FEMA treats with extreme caution. We previously continued this to give the applicant an opportunity to respond to the technical issues. I don't think they're that difficult to respond to. And we have heard nothing. We have got no revisions as of the deadline. And at this juncture, I'm recommending that the commission issues a +1 determination, work subject to protection under the Wetlands Protection Act, and a +5, work subject to protection under the bylaw, requiring the filing of a notice of intent and a receipt of a final order of conditions. By filing a notice of intent, they're going to have to be far more specific to what they're doing and why they're doing it. So that is our recommendation, a +1 and a +5.
Thank you. I see where Nat's trying to join on right now. Nat, I don't know if you heard what Mark was talking about, so I'll let you sit out the voting on the first field trip report, and you could start in on our public hearings, okay?
All right, fair enough. Sorry for being late.
No, I'm glad you're here. So I'll entertain at this juncture a motion for a +1 and a +5 determination on this request for determination of applicability.
So moved.
A second on that motion, please.
Second,
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan?
yes.
My vote is yes, that passes unanimously. We are now moving to our public hearings, and as you may have heard a moment ago, Nat Watson has joined us, so now we have 5 commissioners, which will require, again, 4 positive votes for something positive this evening, but there'd be no real reason to ask for continuance other than something that comes up during the discussion. Our first public hearing is a continued public hearing, DEP file 15-2757, NOI 2446. It's on the notice of intent from Anthony Capuano for PRM Auto Holdings LLC to construct a 39,129 plus or minus gross floor area square foot car dealership and an accessory detached car wash with associated driveways, parking, auto carrier loading spaces, stormwater management measures, utility infrastructure, and landscape improvements. And they also propose an area to the east of the intermittent streams to be graded and paved to accommodate auto carrier loading spaces accessed separately from Ventura Drive. This is on land described as map 63, lot 12. It's otherwise known as 411 Fonts Corner Road. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second,
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat,
yes.
my vote is yes, that passes unanimously. The applicant has requested continuance of this matter until our next public hearing on Tuesday, December 17, 2024. Is there any discussion on that request? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until December 17, 2024 at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote. We have a seconded motion on the floor. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat,
yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. We're moving now to the second public hearing. And it's a continued public hearing, DEP file 15-2709, AOOC 24-3. It's on the request for an amended order of conditions from the Pascamanzet Land Company to modify the following features on the current plan of record, FN 15-2709, to include reducing the size of the infiltration basin, to modify the steel orifice plate on the outlet control structure and the basin's underground utilities. Additional work also includes installation of a portion of the parking lot, catch basin, drain, manhole, and riprap flared end section associated with the underground infiltration system. The existing infiltration basin located on the westerly side of the property will be expanded as well as modified of the steel orifice plate within the outlet control structure. It's on land described as map 65, lot 34-5. It's otherwise known as 481 Faunce Corner Road. Entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
yes,
Megan,
yes,
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Is there someone here this evening on behalf of the applicant that wishes to present?
Mr. Chairman, yesterday we received an email request to continue this matter to the 17th. The applicant had failed to get the revisions in response to both DPW and our own stormwater consultants review comments. Those were posted yesterday afternoon on the portal, and we received hard copies today. There was no way that either party could review given the time, so they've requested a continuance to next week.
Very good. Is there anyone in the audience this evening that came specifically for this particular hearing? I don't see anybody. So, commissioners, hearing the explanation that Mr. Garrett gave us, I would entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until December 17, 2024 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
yes,
Megan,
yes,
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. We're moving on to third public hearing. That's on page 2 of the agenda. It's a continued public hearing on DEP file 15-2759, NOI 24-47. It's on the notice of intent from Roland and Suzanne Valois to repair an existing stone seawall revetment, replace wooden stairs with granite, flat stone stairs, replace a riprap ramp with flat granite stones to ensure adequate access for maintenance on a coastal bank. It's on land described as map 88, lot 20, otherwise known as One Meadow Shores. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
yes,
Megan,
yes,
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. I noted from the emails Mark sent that Mr. Haru had asked for a further continuance. They were responding to something from, I think it was Natural Heritage.
Yes, if I could summarize real quickly. Alan Haru has been in near daily contact with Natural Heritage to try to get them to respond to both the estimated habitat finding and a MESA finding. And to date, Natural Heritage has not issued a no adverse effect or a no take finding. What they did do, and I believe I emailed a copy of the letter to all of you today, was they sent a letter dated today indicating that Mr. Haru needed to provide them with I think 3 or 4 items that they need to see prior to rendering an opinion. My initial feeling was to recommend issuing an order of conditions pending the finding, pending a no adverse effect finding and a no take finding by Natural Heritage. That was before I saw their letter today, which required much more information. Therefore, Alan requested the continuance, and I would say that's probably a good idea at this point.
Very good. Does any
And that
commissioner have any?
would be to the 17th also.
Okay. It's going to be a busy agenda. Merry Christmas.
Actually, it's not.
Oh, okay.
We have no new filings for the 17th. They're all going to be these 3 continued filings.
All right. Well, that's the good news. So
Merry Christmas.
there we go, an early present. So what I would ask is any commissioner have any questions about this request? Don't see any. If anyone's in the audience this evening that came specifically for this matter, if you want to speak now, you may, or you can reserve your comments until the continued public hearing. Don't see anybody willing to speak up tonight, so I'll entertain at the applicant's request and as described by Mr. Garrett, a motion to continue this public hearing until Tuesday, December 17, 2024 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes, that motion passes unanimously. We're moving now to our final public hearing. It's a public hearing on DEP file 15-2762, NOI 24-50. It's on the notice of intent from Darlene M. Sheehan for proposed pier improvements, gangway, float, and float piles at an existing licensed residential pier. It's over land subject to coastal storm flowage, land under the ocean, riverfront area, and land containing shellfish. It's on land described as map 18, lot 6-5 or 21 Old Jetty Road. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
We have a second on that
Second.
motion. We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. And I see Mr. DeVignon's here. So, David, you have the floor. You're representing the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
May I screen share?
You certainly may.
It says sharing is not turned on. Nope, I guess I have it now.
Ask and you shall receive.
I am having trouble locating the plan. My apologies.
No, that can happen. I understand.
Is there any way Mark could share?
Well, he did share by email to the commissioners.
Okay,
David, I'm on a laptop that does not have access to the electronic file.
Yeah, but we have a copy. We're given copies
Right.
of your plan. Oh, something's happening.
I think I found it.
There you
You
go.
Okay, very good. So for the record, I'm Dave DeVigna from Schneider DeVigna Leone. I represent Darlene M. Sheehan, 2007 Revocable Trust. Our applicants, our clients purchased this property in July of 2023. The property is partially developed with a single-family dwelling, guest house, an attached garage. It's 5.3 acres in size. The site borders the Slocum River with an extensive shoreline distance from property line to property line. When they purchased the property has a pier that was licensed by the DEP in 2010. I don't know the exact time frame that they constructed it, but I would assume it was around that time frame. So we have a 14-year-old pier. We're not proposing any changes to the pier, with one exception. We are proposing lateral public access stairs up and over the pier, if they are required by the DEP. We wanted to make sure we covered that on the plan. And those are just westerly of the mean high water line. We're proposing them just in case. Currently, there are lateral public access signs on both sides of the pier, probably about 10-15 feet west of the end of the pier, and the signs are very explicit. They tell you have access, but you got to go along the shoreline and around the pier, and then back to the high tide line. So we're trying to cover the basis by proposing those in case the waterways department wants them installed. The pier does have 2 seating benches on either side. Those were approved as part of the license. What we're proposing this evening is to add a 8 by 16 float. I'm sorry, 8 foot wide by 16 foot long float. There'll be 4 piles on 2 on either end to hold the float in place laterally and vertically. Inside of those piles will be float stops, 18-inch high float stops, and there'll be a 3 by 16 gangway attached to the end of the pier to access onto the float. There's currently a ladder for access at the end of the pier, dropping down to the substrate, and our client has been conveyed to us that as he's aging, that's not really going to work. So he would like to improve the existing access by adding the gangway and the float. So that's the crux of the matter. The project does require Chapter 91 licensing for the ramp and float. And as a matter of fact, it's under review, and the gentleman handling the review for waterways offered to re-up the pier or relicense it as one facility and begin the 30-year license process all over again for the pier. And our client has accepted that. There'll be some fees involved, but not an extensive amount of fees. And the project is also subject to the Army Corps of Engineers, and we have submitted that application. We do have a DEP file number, and we did get a memo issued by Division of Marine Fisheries. We had the site evaluated by Paul Caruso of Cape Coastal Resources. He evaluated the substrate for eelgrass and shellfish. He put together a report. We submitted that as part of the application with the notice of intent. And then he has submitted a follow-up report to reply to Division of Marine Fisheries. The main crux of the matter was they were suggesting that we have 30-inch high float stops, and we're proposing 18 as detailed in the notice of intent, as well as on the profile view and the float detail view on the plan. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, David. Mark, I'd be very interested in hearing staff's comments on this application.
I think David covered the construction elements of it pretty much. David, can you scroll down a little bit so I can see the plan view of the proposed dock?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will admit to a typo on the plan. That states here that 30-inch float stops, which is it shouldn't be there. That should be an 18-inch high float stops. Do you want me to zoom in further?
No, well, if you could, because what I want to point out is a little difficult to pick up. I know where it is, but
Okay.
it's key to what I want to say. Okay, that's good enough.
Okay.
Okay, so they are proposing a gangway and 4 piles with a float. And this particular proposal falls within an existing feature, and I'm not quite sure what the legality is of the feature, but if you look right in the middle of all those notes, there is a note that says existing metal post for dinghy pulley system. David, could you point to that? I know you know where it is.
Yes, it's this little dot right there.
That little dot. Now that is existing. That's in the river. And that pole is connected to the end of the existing dock by a pulley system for a dinghy to get in and out of, to get to deeper water. The reason I bring this up is because what is being proposed is within that footprint. In other words, there's nothing going farther out into the river than that, than where the pole is now. It's going to be lesser. I did reach out, I did forward the submission to the harbor master, and I hadn't heard from him until it was yesterday. I reached out and I said to him, I said, I haven't heard any comments, which leads me to believe you have none, but I'm offering you an opportunity. I won't go into the details of the dialogue, but he was in agreement with me that because what is being proposed is inside the steel pole, he has no record of the metal post either, and the pulley system, but he had no issue and no comment, and I believe I forwarded that email to you folks. So we did have a discussion. The harbor master is not on the portal system, so he doesn't get to see these plans when they're submitted on the portal. So it's still a manual thing, but I reached out to him when David sent me the filing, and then reached out to him again. So that issue, I just wanted to point that out. The second issue I had is I did review the DMF comment, which they in fact wanted 30 inches. The applicant is proposing 18 inches as a stop for the float above the mean low water. I am taking, I'm doing half a loaf here. I agree with Mr. Caruso. I don't think that it's a terribly valuable shellfish resource. It is not an eelgrass resource. However, it could be a potential shellfish resource at some point, depending on change in salinity and things of that nature. We've got sea level rise. We don't know exactly what's going to happen biologically in these coastal embayments with slight changes in salinity. Therefore, what I'm suggesting is that we issue a standard order of conditions with the following added conditions. Condition number 41, the bottom of the proposed float shall be at least 2 feet or 24 inches above the substrate at mean low water, and the float stop shall be pile supported. Number 42 is our standard condition for barge work, which reads, for all overwater or barge work, there will be no grounding of the barge at any time, and a floating boom with siltation curtains shall be deployed to isolate all work activities from all adjacent and down gradient jurisdictional resources. I should state also, in my reasoning for special condition 41, I think as a practical matter, and David referred to this ladder that is no longer really functional for the folks that live there. They do have kayaks, and I think 30 inches to come off a float that's at 30 inches, bottom of the float 30 inches above the mean low water substrate would be a little difficult to access kayaks. So I reduced it by an additional 8 inches to make it a little bit more helpful.
Is that it, Mark?
That's it.
Okay. Does any commissioner have any questions? Is there anyone in the audience this evening that would like to be heard? I don't see anybody. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second on the motion. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioners,
could I interject one other thing? My recommendation is based on the plans dated November 18th, 2024.
okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I didn't catch it either, so don't worry about that. I'll entertain a motion to issue a standard order of conditions based upon the plan dated 11/18/2024, with condition number 41 as articulated by Mr. Garrett, which essentially requires the float stops to be 24 inches above mean high water substrate, and number 42, which is regarding the barge work on the float.
The
Again, as
datum
I-
is it's mean low water, not mean high.
oh,
water.
mean low water. I'm sorry.
Actually,
Yeah, right.
more
It'd be ridiculous if it was high water. You're right.
mean it's actually 24 inches above the substrate. You
Yeah.
really don't want to have mean low water or mean high water in the equation, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll delete mean low water because I did say above the substrate at mean low water. I thought the substrate and mean low water were the same in that location, but okay.
We have a couple more. We're deeper than mean low water, so that it would.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll strike the mean low water just above the substrate.
Okay, so then condition number 41 is articulated and amended by Mr. Garrett so that the float stops are 24 inches above the substrate.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor, seconded motion. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, David, and have a
Thank-
good holiday.
Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Same
Thank
to you,
you.
David.
You're
So we're
welcome.
now moving on from our public hearings to our items for discussion. And Mark, I'll let you kick it off. We've got a few items for discussion here and some enforcement issues.
Yeah, so let's, first is we did get 4 wet signatures. So the 2760 14 Water Street was submitted and recorded yesterday, I believe. We did get the certificate today. So that's all done. Second item, I included in your package as part of the documents, the December 24 to July 2025 schedule. Yes, indeed, it's that time again. And we have attempted to avoid significant public dates like elections and town meetings and the like, and try to space things at least 2 weeks apart. And also attempted to stay on the second and fourth week as much as possible, with some holidays such as what's coming up in December. That was a little bit impossible, but nonetheless, the schedule is there. I was hoping for a vote to approve so we could get that posted.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the schedule for the 2025 meetings that were submitted by email by the Environmental Affairs Coordinator, Mr. Garrett.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That passes unanimously.
Okay, great. The third item is the Conservation Commission mission statement. This is not my idea. This is an idea that was put forth by the FinCom and by the interim town administrators as part of the fiscal year 2026 budget process. FinCom is trying to develop a series of metrics to evaluate departmental budgetary needs, and I'm in the process of putting that together. But the first requirement is that each board, commission, department has to issue a mission statement. Now, I looked high and low and could not find a mission statement buried in any of the files. So I crafted the draft that I sent out to you folks based on a repetitive paragraph that appears in most of our annual town reports regarding the Conservation Commission, what we are, what we were, and how we go about doing business. So that is what is in front of you. And I need, before I post that as your mission statement, I want to make sure it's okay with you folks.
Well, I don't understand how a mission statement is anywhere near relevant to a FinCom, but because a mission statement, to my view, is supposed to be this global, very, very succinct, but global sort of like, here's our wishes of what we want to do. And I don't know how that helps you form a budget, but if that's what they want, I'm okay with what was written.
Ditto.
So I'll entertain a motion to authorize Mr. Garrett to submit the proposed mission statement that he had submitted to us by email to the appropriate town administrators at their request.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That passes unanimously.
Okay, I wanted to just highlight, it's not on the agenda, but I did send you copies. The governor on November 20th, this is an announcement, on November 20th, 2024, issued a new tolling extension for 2 years on all permits, state and municipal, except those as listed, which are Department of Transportation and things like that. A 2-year extension on any permit issued with a deadline between January 1st, 2023 and January 1st, 2025. So all of the permits that we have issued since January 1st, 2023 are automatically extended 2 years from their sunset date.
Can I ask a
Which-
question? What about those permits that may have come in for an extension? Is that a 2-year from the sunset of the extension?
I'm not sure, Michael. I have to check on that.
Okay, I'm not
Um,
sure either. I mean, it was a real question. I just thought.
No, it is a real question, and it begets, it's not a simple answer, and we have to look into that. At this point, if they've got 3 years extensions, I don't think it really matters because they'll go beyond. But
Well, I'm
those
just thinking out loud. Let's say we had somebody that came in earlier this year or last year. They get their 3-year extension. So does that apply to the end of their extension, or does it go back to the original? In which case it's moot, really, right? If somebody came in
Right,
earlier
right,
this year, we gave them
right.
3 years.
Right. I mean, I think if somebody's extension was winding down, let's say August 15th, 2024, I think it applies there. But I think if it bridges out over, it doesn't matter.
I tend to agree with you, Mark, but I just was curious because I got a feeling it's going to come up a couple of times at least.
Join the crowd. We all feel the same way. I did send you copies of the legislation, which I got today, the actual language, and it's legal speak. So it's like I'm just trying to take as low a path as possible here, and we'll deal with it as it comes along.
Agreed. I'll be candid. I haven't read the legislation. I know you did send it, but I just didn't have any time today to read it. I just didn't know if there was some little golden nugget in there or not, but you're right.
I didn't think so. I didn't think
Probably
so, but anyway, so that's just an FYI. The last discussion item, is that we do have a meeting next week. Okay, we typically don't meet every week, but this time we had to because we made the decision when we set up this schedule way back when that you would rather meet, we probably should have two meetings in December, and that you would rather meet on the 17th than on Christmas Eve. While we all like each other, I'm sure we'd like to be with other people on Christmas Eve. So we squeezed that in. As I mentioned
you, Mark.
earlier, we have no new notice of intent filings for that night. We also have no new request for determination filings for that night. However, there's always the opportunity that somebody could try to jam in a certificate of compliance or something like that. So as it stands right now, the agenda will probably have no less than 3 public hearings, those that were continued tonight. So that's where we stand for next week.
I appreciate
Uh,
the reminder. Thank you.
Moving ahead to enforcement, and these are very brief. In terms of Francis, the Francis update is we have no update. If you will recall, back in September, we had a meeting to discuss the Francis case, and they had just retained a new attorney, Attorney Bonnet Hebert. And there was discussion, a fairly honest discussion, and her indication was that she wanted to get this job done. And there was a discussion about communications and how I believe, Mike, you suggested that we should have communications on a monthly basis. That was back on September 10th. It is now December 10th, and we have heard nothing. So I think at this point, I don't want to start negotiating with their attorney. We have town council. My recommendation is to contact Brian Cruz and Anthony Savastano and tell them, deal with this at the legal level.
Mark, I couldn't agree more at this juncture. I don't know what the issue is on the Francis's side. I have personally dealt with counsel on other matters, and I can tell you, it's been my experience with her. She's very attentive. She's good at responding, and usually a very pragmatic problem solver. So I'm not to say that there could be some slippage there, but I can tell you it's certainly out of character for her.
And that would be my assessment too. Obviously, she's got to represent her clients. Her clients have been less than cooperative over a number of years, so who the heck knows why? We haven't heard. We should have heard. We didn't. And at this point, let them fight it out in court. We've extended ourselves even beyond the consent decree, and to no avail.
I would agree. Do you want a motion to ask for town council to be involved in this
Sure.
matter?
Sure.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to instruct Mr. Garrett to request town council's assistance on the Francis matter.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
Megan?
yes,
Liz?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That passes unanimously.
Okay, and the last enforcement item is 16 Nathan Drive. I think you'll recall several weeks back, we had a discussion about this. I got contacted by Mr. Rose. We had a site meeting. I thought we had accomplished a great deal. Apparently not. I had given him a date of December 5th to get his after the fact notice of intent in. I know he had contacted the surveyor. I don't know what he told the surveyor, but December 5th came and went. We have gotten nothing. So this is the second deadline that we have requested and required that has gone past due. And I would like, I had made the unilateral decision to tell town council to back off because it seemed like they were going to file by the 5th. They did not, and I'm just letting you know that I would like to tell town council to get back on it.
Well, under the circumstances where there's been no meeting of the deadline and no communication saying that they couldn't meet the deadline, I don't see we have much choice. So I'll entertain a motion to instruct Mr. Garrett to solicit town council's assistance in dealing with the Nathan Drive matter.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
yes,
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously.
I'm all done.
I have nothing new. Does any commissioner have something they want to bring up? I didn't expect to, but okay, good. So entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second on that, please. We have a second on the motion. We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Richard,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
yes.
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Meeting adjourned.